Hey everybody, we're discussing today what it's going to be like when judgment comes upon the nation. I'm talking about the nation that Genesis 15 and 14 talk about. Let's discuss it right here. It says in Genesis 15 and 13, and he said unto them, know of a surety, he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Thy seed. He's talking to Abram. And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now you know of a peoples and a nation that's stranger, that's treated as strangers in a nation that's not theirs. For 400 years, they was afflicted for 400 years in this nation. Now, he's talking about a certain nation, a certain peoples, the descendant of Abraham. He's talking about them, the descendant of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. He's talking about those peoples, and they're in a strange land for 400 years. Now, this hasn't happened yet. We're not talking about when they went into Egypt the first time. That wasn't 400 years. They wasn't afflicted for 400 years at that time. Okay, you can do the research on that. But it says in Deuteronomy 28, again, you shall go into Egypt. Egypt is a land of persecution, a land of captivity. That's what he's talking about. They're going to go into a land of captivity for 400 years. Okay, and he says in the 14th verse, also, they shall, after they serve that nation for those 400 years, I will judge that nation. I will judge that nation. And after, they're going to come out with great substance. But he's going to judge that nation. So that's what we're discussing today. What nation is he talking about? For 400 years, his peoples, the descendants. He's not just talking about afflictions for a few weeks or 2 years. He says 400 years. What peoples is he talking about? Could you identify those peoples? Okay, well, we look at the present time that we're living in. You can look at the U.S. From 1619 all the way up until 2019. Okay, that's 400 years. So, well, wasn't anyone in the U.S. afflicted for 400 years? Was 1619 all the way up to 2019. He says, I'm going to judge that nation. After the 400 years is up, I'm going to judge that. He says, I'm going to do it. Judge that nation. He says, afflictions in captivity for 400 years. Now, captivity means you on a large plantation, you know, and you really, like most African Americans and black people that was a part of this, they didn't have the resources to leave the land. You know, they don't have the resources. It costs money to leave, so you like stuck on the plantation, and the government knows that. And the government, he says, I'm going to judge that nation. The government was a part of this. They was behind this. They the one that afflicted them. I'm reading a book right now, a different kind of slavery. I think that's the name of it. And after emancipation, they still enslaved the peoples all the way up until after World War II, literally all the way up into the 60s. Okay, even in the 70s. Okay, if you go out and do your research into the lands of Mississippi, Alabama, all around the country, even up to today, you're still being afflicted. Okay, for 400 years. So in 2019, we had a pandemic. I think it was beginning like more people began to notice in 2020, but it really begins in 2019, the latter part of that year, 2019, the pandemic began to hit the U.S. So what does that have to do with it? Well, he says, I'm going to judge that nation. Now, the day of the Lord comes, the day of the Lord, sound the trumpet in Zion. The day of the Lord, many nations going to be judged, because many nations participated in slavering the Most High peoples, took them in captivity. Many nations did that. Oh, someone said, oh, you know, slavery was happening thousands of years. Yes, it was. But he's talking about his peoples going into captivity. His peoples for 400 years. Okay? Afflictions. Treating them like animals, like cattle. The nation did it. It was legal to do it. Legal to rape the Most High women's and rape the young girls. It was legal to do that. And to sell them and hang them in trees and all kind of things that you can think of. I'm not going to go into a lot of those things right now. But for 400 years, it was legal to do that. And even the ones, the officials, the presidents, many of them they enslaved the Most High peoples. I'm talking about the descendants of Abraham. And one day I'm going to do a video, say, well, how do you know? Well, you have to identify these peoples. One day I'm going to do a video, I'm going to take you all the way back to Africa, 70 AD. I'm going to take you all the way back. But I'm not going to do it right now in this video. But you identify who are the Most High peoples. There was melanated peoples. I did a video not too long ago how Adam, he was a melanated man. God made man in his own image and his own likeness. Okay, a melanated man. And I don't have time to get into that right now. But okay, so we're going to look at some of the 10 plagues of Egypt when they was in Egypt the first time, it wasn't 400 years, because you remember that Joseph, he was in second command in Egypt. And when they brought his brethren in, when his brethren came there, and Jacob with them, Israel, Most High had changed his name to Israel, they brought the father, they came in, they wasn't in captivity. But after Joseph passed, and a new king had came around, then they went into captivity. Okay, that wasn't 400 years. So you can do your research on that. But I'm going to mention some of those 10 plagues. I'm not saying that these are the 10 plagues that this nation, we're going to see these 10 plagues in this nation. I'm not saying that. God can use many different agents, many different things to cause that judgment to come to pass. We're seeing it already, like I mentioned, what happened in 2019 in this country and many other nations around the world. But number one, okay, it says water into the blood. That was one of the plagues. Water into the blood in the Nile River. Okay, so it was blood in the water. Number two, frogs. That was number two, an infestation of frogs. Number three, lice, tiny lice. Number four, flies. And you can see some of the divine punishment the plagues that came upon Egypt. And I'm reminded of, you ever heard of wild pigs? This country's having a problem with wild pigs. They don't mention it much on the news, but they're having a tremendous problem with wild pigs. And there's many other things that have come. Even in Florida, that's where we're located right now in Florida, the fruit trees, the disease, the citrus trees. We're having a major problem with the citrus. And it's also moving over to California now. But we lost most of the citrus trees in Florida. So we're getting a lot of citrus from Brazil. Now there's the president have put sanctions on Brazil. There's a problem, so you don't want. So we need that citrus. Okay, so you can look around and you can do your research and find out what's going on in the country. Okay, does it look like we under any kind of judgment? Okay, so we got flies, we got pestilence, a deadly disease that affect the livestock, pestilence, sickness, infections, things like that affecting the livestock. I think we had a problem with the chickens not too long ago. We may still be having a problem with the chickens. Eggs, the price of eggs had went up a few months ago. I don't really know the price of eggs, but I do know they had went up because they were having some kind of problem with the chicken, the disease. Okay, so we know and we realize that have we come under judgment? I believe we have. 400 years. He says after 400 years is up, he's going to judge the nation. He didn't say nations at this time. He says nation. That's one nation. I believe. Now this is what I believe. I believe the tribe of Judah. I mean, mainly is in the U.S. And it's just other tribes is here as well. But I believe that the tribe of Judah is here, and the tribes are scattered around, even in South America, the islands, Jamaica, and those islands, and even in Africa, you still have like tribes there. You wonder what happened to the tribes. What happened to the tribes, the 12 tribes that was taken into captivity? Some of them still in Africa because they came down. They came up into Africa, okay? Like the Bantu peoples and scattered around Africa, you'll find. And most of them was colonized by the British, the Germans, and the Dutch, and many other European countries, okay? And we're gonna get into that one day. I can't get into all that right now, okay? But we have hailstorms, destructive hailstorms. That's another one. So that's the climate. It's like, we know we've been getting hurricanes for years in Florida. But somebody said, well, he's never going to use hurricanes. Well, he can use, if he can use hailstorms, then he can use tornadoes and hurricanes. And maybe you come to a point where you won't be able to repair the homes that's been destroyed by those hurricanes. And it's coming to that point now. A few years ago, we had 3 in 1 year in Florida. And so we're literally at a point now. We have FEMA, but they're coming to a point now, they're having so many storms, FEMA is not going to be able to assist you that much anymore. That's, we're already under the judgment. It's not, because he says, I'm going to bring you out. So he have made the judgment already. He says after the 400 years is up, Okay, so the nation was found guilty. It don't make no difference what the people say in the nation. You was found guilty. You say, well, the Israelites is not in the U.S. Well, that's what you say. What does the Most High say? Well, they can't be black. Well, it don't make no difference what you say about it. It's what the Most High say. If you had those peoples in your nation and you mistreated them for 400 years, judgment is upon the nation, because the 400 years is up. And I've been doing a lot of research on the U.S. history, and it's terrible history. The way you mistreated the black peoples, African Americans, the Negroes, whatever you call those peoples, you mistreated them every step of the way. Even when they became what you call so-called Christians, you still mistreated them. Okay, so it's what the Most High say. But judgment has come upon the nation that's mistreated them. Okay, so we got darkness, death of the firstborn, so death, and a lot of problems that's happening in the country. I'm not going to get into all of that. But judgment, however he wants to do it, judgment is coming upon that nation. It's upon that nation right now. So what are we as the chosen peoples of God, what are we going to do about it? How do we handle this situation? Well, in the book of Job, 2nd chapter, the 12th verse, it says, I'm going to get me a little water right here. Hold on. I'm going to get a little water. That's good. So hold on, people. Okay, what are we going to do as peoples of God, as the Most High peoples? Okay, it says in the 12th verse, Job 2:12. Therefore also now, says the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your hearts, and not your garments, your hearts. He's concerned about your heart. He's looking at your hearts now. We're living in a time of grace. He's looking at your heart. He wants us to come up, step up. Rend your hearts, not your garments. He's not looking at your garments. And turn unto the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful and slow to anger. Well, he's slow to anger. Well, why in that world did he allow us to be in captivity for 400 years? Well, he was long suffering with our ancestors. And we chose to follow after other gods and not after him. So we're his descendants. Descendants of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And the peoples of the Most High, they turned from him and they began to serve idol gods. Okay, so they went into captivity. He allowed that. He allowed one to put 1,000 to flight. How can one put 1,000 to flight? Well, because we wasn't standing on that rock. Okay, but things are turning now. It says, and rend your hearts and turn unto the Lord your God, for he is gracious. He is gracious. I hear some people say, oh, we don't need to follow after Christ no more. Well, who you going to follow after? Who are you going to follow after? It says here, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knows if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind? The 15th verse says, blow the trumpet in Zion. Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sanctify fast. Call a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders. Gather the children and those that suck. He says, while we're in captivity, we're gonna remember who we really are, because we were scripted of our culture, of our language, our identity. and they gave us a book with scriptures in it, and we didn't know. We was in darkness. We didn't know who we were until the scriptures reveal who you are. You know, they brainwashed us. We didn't even know our language or anything. But he's revealing to you now who you are. Why did all these things happen? Why did they happen? He's slow to anger. You know, he's gracious. The Lord is gracious. He said it would happen. He said that. He mentioned that in the scriptures to Abram. Your descendants is going to be in a strange country for 400 years. So that's letting you know, that's you he's talking about. You are in this book that we call the Bible. He's letting you know that. He's revealing to you that you are his chosen peoples. You're his chosen peoples. This didn't happen to no one else. And you read the book of Deuteronomy, 20th chapter, the curses and the blessings, when the curses and the blessings have come upon you. You read those scriptures of the curse. All the things that happen. Those things happen to us in this country. And the Most High allows the Europeans to do that to us. He allowed that. Okay? But he's saying now, the nation that did this to you, I'm going to judge them after the 400 years. You see, the British came in. You know, this is their colony. And so the peoples of those colonies, they fought against the British because the British began to talk about, we're going to stop enslaving people. Well, the peoples here in this country didn't want to allow that to happen, so they fought the British. I went to Boston, and you know, the British, if you read their history, the British could have defeated the colony, but they didn't. They could have done it. It's just like they really gave it to the citizens. You know, they could have defeated them, but they didn't do it. So then we go on, and we went on to, and they had the Civil War, and the northern states just kind of want to ease up on keeping people in the captivity. But the southern states, they wanted slavery to continue forever. That was their way of life. They call that their culture. They don't want to let them go. And Christians, so-called Christians, preachers and deacons, and politicians and judges, they were saying this. And they kept the Most High peoples into captivity all the way up after the Civil War. The 1910, 1920s, 1930s, Jim Crow laws, judges, sheriffs, and governors. They're always involved in it. The government was involved in it. They fought the war, the Civil War, but they still allow the South to enslave the Most High peoples. U.S. Steel and Chase Bank, they're always involved in it. Okay, so judgment is upon the nation already. But what are we going to do as the Most High peoples? How is he going to sustain us? And that's our question for today. So it says, the 18th verse says, then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his peoples. 19th verse says, yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his peoples, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the nations. I will no more allow you to be a reproach among the nations. So we're seeing now, even though the nation is under judgment, and they're trying to figure out things, and they're wondering why did this happen to us? They inherited a lie. You see, they don't want to know the truth. You try to tell them the truth, but they don't want to hear that. Oh, this is what happened, no, we ain't going to believe that. We didn't learn that in school. Well, every man got to do his own research. And the nation has inherited a lie. You go back and do a lot of research. You'll find out that the nation has inherited a lie. But the Most High says, He says, I will send you corn and wine and oil. I will sustain you. That's what He is saying. I will sustain you. You see, even though there's difficulties in the nation, it's not going to get any better because we're under that judgment of the Lord, this nation, for what they've done to the Most High peoples. They may say, well, these are not the Most High peoples. That's what you say. Well, I didn't do that. I didn't do that to you. I wasn't born back then. Well, you're benefiting from it. We're not. He says, I'm going to judge the nation. See, the nation, the government, allowed these things to happen. The government officials, this nation, this country, He's going to judge the country. And many of the presidents, they was enslavers. But people today says, they lift up the presidents like they was godly men. What God are you talking about? You enslaved the Most High peoples. You mistreated them. You breeded them. Anything you can think of really bad, terrible, we don't really like to talk about it because it's so terrible. But so He's judging the nation. The nation is under judgment. That's what's happening. The nation is under judgment. You can run to other nations, but a lot of those other nations, their judgment is going to be the day of the Lord. They got to repay for what they done. It's about mistreating the Most High peoples and taking them into captivity. That's why the nation is under judgment. That's the number one thing right there. Okay? But He is saying to His people, if you change your mean, He's going to create in you a new heart. He's pouring out His Spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. He knows you've been out in that valley like dry bones. Bones everywhere, scattered about. He asked the prophet Ezekiel, can these bones live? Ezekiel was walking around. He says, Lord, thou knowest. And He says, prophesy unto these bones. These bones don't know who they are. These bones have been stripped of their culture, their identity. I want you to prophesy to these bones, the ligaments, the muscles. That flesh may come, that skin may come upon these bones, that they may live. That's why He's waking you up. He's placing breath back in your body, sustaining you, raising you up, lifting you up. And He's sustaining you. Even though you're in a nation that's under judgment, He's sustaining you. He's going to send you your provisions. The Lord is my shepherd. That's what the psalmist said. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. So you don't have to worry about a thing. You shall be satisfied. He's your sustainer. His spirit shall come upon you, and you shall live. He come that you may have life, and that more abundantly. So these are the times that we're living in now, but you don't have to worry about a thing. Because he says, I will send you corn. He's involved in what's happening. I will send you corn. A lot of people, they're panicking. They're losing their minds. They're committing suicide. They don't know what to do. But you worship him. You walk with him. You walk in fellowship with him. He's your source. He will sustain you. The farmers are panicking. Some of them are shutting down their businesses. But the Most High will sustain you. He's always been your keeper anyway. Even when you was lost. He preserved you. Because you are his heritage. They mocked you. They call you animals. They call you all kinds of names. But he said, never again will they mark you. Never again. Okay, so he's sending you corn. And he's giving you just what you need. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to walk with the Most High. All these things must come to pass. They must come to pass. There's nothing they can do about it. They must come to pass. You got the president running around trying to figure things out, trying to do things. Well, these things must happen. They must come to pass. Don't think, well, we was in captivity for 400 years. And you're going to get away with that? No. He will repay. And that's what he's doing right now. He's judging the nation. Nations will be judged, but this nation right now, what he's dealing with right now, the U.S., because how they have mistreated his people, the apple of his eye. Well, I got to go. Love you. Be blessed.